Family, Pastor George here, your pastor of stewardship, finance, and community engagement, where we live life by design, not by default. We got a very special episode coming today. It's called Don't Sell Grandma's House. You know what I'm talking about. Don't go nowhere, get your popcorn ready, and your family. It's time to have that conversation. Hello, family. Pastor George here, ready for another exciting episode of Set for Life. We have our Color of Money episode. I have my co-pilot, Danette Wilkerson, with us. Danette, how are you doing? And tell us about it.
Oh my gosh, I'm good. I am excited about this series because we're talking about wealth in our community. You know what I mean? So the title, Don't Sell Grandma's House, always tickles me because you say it all the time when we're helping people. But what I wanted to get into, because we've had these conversations for years, that dates back to how long we've known each other. But remember when we worked on the board of the Urban League with the young professionals?
The young professionals, you guys, at one time we were young.
We were young.
We were very young.
I guess we're
young
OG.
professionals. And one of the things I really enjoyed about working with the young professionals was we've been doing this actually for a long time. We've been talking about in the community, about building wealth, about home ownership, and different areas like this. And we used to do different reports and have different information. And that was really good.
Yeah, no, the State of the Black America report.
Yes.
I believe they still do that. But this particular report that I had addressed with you several weeks ago, this one was called The Color of Wealth, which is where we got the color of money from. And this report was done by Duke University, and I have the report right here because I have some quotes that I want to read from it, and then get your take on it before you jump into where you came up with this topic. So Duke University, the New School, the University of California, LA, and the Insight Center gathered this data, and they specifically focused on Los Angeles for whatever reason. But one of the quotes in here discusses that the more wealth that is passed down from generation to generation, the more assets that are accumulated over time, resulting in greater financial security and stability is what building wealth is all about, right?
That's right.
But for communities of color, especially Blacks and Latinos, it has never been, quote, easy to build assets of any type because of low levels of intergenerational transfers of funds. That's one. Then they go on to say, white households in Los Angeles have a median net worth of $355,000. In comparison, Mexicans and U.S. Blacks have a median wealth of $35,000 to $40,000.
Wow.
Respectively. Non-white groups, Japanese, 592, Asian Indian, 460, and Chinese, 408. Compared with 8.2% of other Latino, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now listen to this. White households are more likely to be homeowners, so 68%, along with Chinese at 68%, Japanese at 64%. By contrast, 44% of African Americans and 45% of Mexican households. That's the extent of the report that I'm going to get into today. Because when you say don't sell grandma's house, that is the epitome of this report.
That's it.
So I want you to jump into this topic because I know you have some good information to share so people can understand why when we buy these homes, why our parents and grandparents, buy these homes, I'm sorry, I'm good. I'm like Oprah on this. I don't want to make you cry, George, because I want you to, people, we joke about it, but it's a serious conversation. So, tell us why this topic was so important for you in this particular month.
Right. And before I get into that, I just want to say this is that if I start talking loud or if I do anything, it's because I'm passionate.
Yeah.
I care and I want to make a change.
Yeah.
So I'd like for you to really think about, not only for yourself right now, I'd like for you to think about what family members or what people also need to listen to this. There's two areas that are very, very important on building generational wealth. The first is knowledge. Knowledge has the pass for people to be financially successful. And the second is money. There's so much focus right now on, hey, what do we pass and how does that work? And that's why we have the title, Don't Sell Grandma's House, because there are some great opportunities that people don't utilize or leverage because of lack of knowledge.
Right.
Like maybe do you know people that when they're past wealth,
Right.
we know people. This happens in this church. There's people that pass a house, a car, and pass stuff to people, and then it's spent immediately. Don't you see that?
I've seen it a dozen times. I mean, in this industry that we're in, helping people with their finances and build wealth and that sort of thing, I've seen so many cases, you've seen them, where someone leaves $500,000 in assets to them, whether it's a house or cars and money, and it's gone in 6 months.
Right.
6 whole months.
Right. And they say the average, and then the same statistic, you broke it out, white, African American, Asian, Latino, that you see the average inheritance might last 9 months. You see with minorities, it's even shorter because of people will do things. Or they'll even say that there's absolutely nothing wrong with opening up a business or starting a business
Right.
or investing in a business. But hopefully you have one prior to you getting the money so that you can utilize the money for the highest and best use. So that's one of the things I want to make sure that make sure we cover and do things in that area. But that's how generational wealth is passed.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joked about it earlier when we say don't sell grandma's house, right? So grandma works for umpteen number of years, they retire, they bust their behind trying to pay off this house.
Right.
Most of them end up not paying it off, number one. The reason they don't pay it off is because of the kids and the grandkids doing what? I'm gonna let you talk about this because I know this gets under your skin. When grandma or ma refinance their house to do a number of things, give their kids some money.
Right.
Go
And
ahead.
then that's give kids money. Also, they'll start paying for school. They'll
Right,
refinance the house
right.
to do that.
Yep.
They'll refinance the house to fix the house up, or refinance the house for them to buy another house
Right.
and all these things. And also, I'm not opposed to these things if there's a plan. Like in other words, like later on, can the kids pay things back, or can they do that? So then that goes back to what we've talked about, and we've also done shows on this, is having a family financial plan.
Right.
Like in other words, like what's the plan? So let's look at what an individual plan somebody would have, and then I want to talk about opportunities.
Sure.
So the first plan someone's have is, what's the income plan? Most of all, our age, typically work somewhere for a long time. Now that's not the case. People don't do that. There aren't pensions or different things like that. That's why people have retirement. So income plan. Second thing is a debt plan. How are you going to get out of debt? And as you know, we teach classes called Do Good, Get Out of Debt.
Right.
And then the third is there needs to be an investment plan. That's like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things like this. And then a real estate plan.
My favorite.
We're going to come back to these today. And then you want to have some form of a tax plan, that you have. That's the fourth plan. And the fifth is an estate plan.
Right.
That means living trust, different things like this. So that's where you want to sit down and have a kitchen table conversation with your parents and with your kids about all of these, and especially the estate plan. Because what we've heard is that people, when someone passes, they say, hey, what do we do? Or you told us this morning, and we had a meeting this morning where you told me where somebody had passed away and now they're collecting money to pay for the funeral.
Yeah.
Like these things need to be talked about prior to these things happening.
Yeah.
Retirement needs to be talked about before. Kids, and then also, if you remember, there's a gentleman by the name of Derek Pete that always gives me a hard time about my kids, because for Christmas I want to buy them the stock. You remember that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to mention a swear word while we're doing this, but that Roblox, there's this video game these kids play. Remember, we own the stock.
Right.
It was interesting. I was driving my kids to basketball practice last weekend. They said, "Daddy, how much does the CEO of Roblox make?" I said, "That's a good question, son. Let's look it up right when we get home." And I said, "By the way, I'm going to tell you how much his salary is, and that's the only door I needed to go into." I said, "Then I'm going to tell you what net worth is." My son says, "What's net worth?" I said, "Son, that's how much the assets, because he should try to get paid $1 if I worked there. I'd get paid $1 and say, pay me all the money in stock." But you see, that's the beginning of building wealth. and how you do it.
Yeah, you mentioned building wealth and stocks and bonds, but in the African American community, the biggest asset that most of us have is the house, right? So a lot of people, they don't put money in stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Some of them do not knowingly because they're participating in their 401k. So
But they didn't know it, right?
inevitably they are. A lot of people don't do that. That's another show. But the majority of this report says Blacks and Latinos, right? That is their biggest wealth asset, but we are the lowest holders of real estate, even
Right.
in the grand scheme of, this report talking about the percentages of who owns homes and so on and so forth. 68% compared to our 45.
Right.
And it's been that since 20 years ago when we were working with the Urban League and these other nonprofits that also promote home ownership.
Right.
So the goal is to buy a home or multiple homes
Right.
and then pass that on. That's a business in and
Right.
of itself, right? So
Right.
yeah, talk about
But see,
that.
this is the challenge, though.
Yeah.
And then this is the part where sometimes I get mad because it's like we're missing opportunities.
Right.
We had every opportunity. If you remember, we said a long time ago,
Inglewood.
buy Inglewood. I said, buy homes in Inglewood. Buy them in certain areas. Everybody was trying to get out of LA to live out in the suburbs. And then people didn't do it and said, buy a piece of property and then do it. Then, there's that stadium out there, where the Super Bowl was and everything like that and doing things and the whole season, the Chargers,
Right.
the Rams, everything like that. That SoFi Stadium that's $1 billion with a B stadium.
Yeah.
So look at how they built that, and then they sell seats in there, and that's how they make money. They renting seats.
Yeah.
Then they had this whole thing with parking.
Oh my
right?
gosh, I saw
Like,
that
it was all the
article.
thing
We were talking
parking,
about
right? I
that.
see the article. They're not parking. But look, how do we participate in the wealth of
Right,
that?
right.
And the wealth creation of that. And one of the ways is just having properties. How you make money. Remember that? We've gone over this all the time before. Is what we want to do is we want to buy something undervalued and then have it come up in value.
Yeah.
So we want to buy it undervalued and have it come up in value.
Right.
So let's say we bought a home and then we learned how to have it and kept passing it on, or we kept it. So I want to use a prime example. Family, I just don't want to talk about this. I want to show you an actual example. Here, come with me. So, Danette, one of the things, first thing you notice is that, first of all, you just look at this house, and it's just a standard house. But first of all, let's just look at, I want to walk through at least 4 scenarios till we have options for this home.
Okay.
So the first one is, first of all, we want to buy it. So first of all, we want to start $499. That's $500,000. It's 1,000 square foot, 1,079. It's on a 6,403 square foot lot.
We like
so
that.
we should buy that before we even walk into this home. Okay? And then we'll go over later on about not selling grandma's house. So then second is this. When you walk in, you see this picture right here. You see how you walk into the entryway right here. So now, first thing you notice is what, Danette? That carpet is looking crazy, right? They got dogs and cats running around in here, like just running loose. Then you'll see here where they also have this other entryway where you have these windows and everything. First of all, you want to knock that out
I would.
and then make a complete open concept.
That would be smart.
And in doing that. And then obviously we know we're removing all carpet. So as you're seeing right here, there's another view of that. And then we're removing all carpet. So we want to run vinyl if we're fixing it up. But then also, if we're on a limited budget, did I say limited budget? Limited budget, like we don't have, then just remove.
Yeah.
Just remove all the carpet.
Right.
Like you see places like Costco and everything like that. They what's that called? Shellac the floor, right? So there's nothing on the floor. And if that's your thing, but also renovate to vinyl, and then also I'd put a fireplace right there. If you're gonna do that, and you want to have highest and best use,
Okay.
right
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
Then as you see right here, obviously see the ceiling fan in this area right here. We're gonna replace it with one instead of the bulb. We're gonna have something that's all enclosed, very nice. New ones, and then obviously see this kitchen can you say this kitchen needs a little bit of work?
Smidge.
Yeah, so it needs to have a lot done. Depending on your budget, you want to do a full kitchen, but then if you don't have a budget, then you just need to put a refrigerator in and just clean everything.
Go back to the floors. Remember you were talking to the youth the other day about some flooring, and they were talking about they were recommending like just have like concrete or something.
Yeah.
They're doing that's a new thing these days.
Well, yeah. So if you look at it, there's a lot of places that spend a lot of, when you go places, they spend a lot of money making things look before. You go in places, they don't even have a ceiling
Yeah,
anymore
it's
now.
like an open
Like they did
concept.
a rethink that the ceiling and the floors, they want to have it, they call that modern. So we're going to go with a modern approach.
Yeah.
But you know what though? We got to be clean. So we just got to go ahead
Like
and knock
clean
that
lines,
off
yeah.
and do that. That's all depending on budget. Then obviously see that kitchen. And then they have this breakfast nook. This wallpaper looks so bad, I'd almost keep it. So anyway.
Grandma's house always has wallpaper.
Right, but you see, there's some new wallpaper
That's dope,
that
yeah.
looks really really nice.
Yeah.
And then again, you can do it yourself and take your time depending on your budget, or you can just light it up and make it look real nice in the full thing. Then also you see over here, this is nearing the back door. This is where we look at if we're doing, depending on later on scenarios, adding more bedrooms
Yeah.
and adding more areas. But anyway, this is a little kitchen area where there's a pantry, and then you see right here is the bedrooms with these really I'm gonna use the word interesting ceiling
My favorite
fans. So
word.
there we go. And then you see the bathroom right here needs a deep cleaning, but then also really what it needs to do is this needs to be a fully renovated bathroom.
Yeah, fresh
And
coat of
doing-
paint always does wonders.
And but this tile needs a little bit of help. Okay. Then I just want to go to what the crowning jewel of why it's $4.99 is. Look at this backyard. So I'm even
Oh, it's
asking
huge,
you, and I'd also like for you to type in the chat. What do you see when you look in this backyard? You know what? You know what Pastor Thompson sees? Opportunity. Look, don't sell grandma house. All right?
Because this one you have to buy.
Yes.
They will inherit a whole house.
No, Danette,
Oh, I was getting in it. I
You know
wanna
what
get
we say
back
with
to
Pastor?
it.
Don't get ahead of me.
I'm trying to get
Because
to
you
it.
see, now see what people now are gonna say, I can't afford the house. We already said your grandma got the house. But okay, now this one you gonna buy, okay? You go in this backyard. I'm gonna start with this backyard. First of all, you see, you already see, if you open that garage door, that whole garage gonna fall down. Okay?
Right.
So I went over scenario number one. Scenario number 1A. Scenario number one is buying the house and just fixing it up. If you don't have a lot of money, then you're doing that. Then, Danette, what's B? What's 1B?
Well, I think they should do some ADUs back there.
ADU, I'm
Put-
sorry, everybody, we have to let me translate that. That stands for accessory dwelling unit. In other words, that's putting a grandma house in the back of the house.
Yeah, we can do that. We can, put somebody back there. Charge them.
Okay, all right.
We charging people.
Charging them. We charging. Oh, I'm marching and
got him
charging.
out of his
Okay,
seat.
so look. This is what we're gonna do. So we said 1, fix up the house. 1B is we put an accessory dwelling unit. We put another unit in the back, charge rent. And then C is, here at Fixer, we're all about building community.
Yeah.
Is we're gonna build, I'm gonna say, and then also we had a young lady, Jackie came and told us also, the church, she said, you ought to build something called the clubhouse in the back, where you tutor kids, have after school
Yeah, I love
programs,
that.
and do all that stuff. And that'd be really, really good for the community. But you guys understand that also you'd receive money for that. Yes, you'd receive income. Then you receive something called grants. Did you know what I heard about grants?
What?
I heard you don't have to pay them back.
They're free.
Yeah, that means that you get them back. And then what are you doing? It's a win-win-win. You're building community.
We'll talk about that
You're
later
correcting
for
and-
sure. A whole show.
And
on that.
we'll do a whole show on that. But right now we talking about us building something.
Yeah.
So we ran through buying the home, fixing it up, putting an ADU in the back, which I wouldn't have done, or the clubhouse. But I'm gonna come back to the clubhouse a little bit later. But I was looking at scenario number 2. When you look at this, number 1, knocking that garage down and building a duplex.
Yeah. You can do that.
I got excited. I'm sorry. I got excited. Do you guys understand a duplex? And someone says, "Hey, what about zoning laws and everything?" But now, since there is a housing what's
Shortage.
shortage, okay, you guys, it's an epidemic. We have housing issues here in California.
We do.
Just so that you know,
We do.
we need that. So you would build a duplex back there, and think about it. So this is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. So remember, you could add on to the house, or you could
Yeah.
build a 3-bedroom, 2 bath.
The front one you can go up.
Right. Oh, hold on. No. There she goes. That's the second time she's getting ahead of me. One more time, and then she's going to be sitting right back down over there. Just kidding. All right. So we're going to put a duplex, 3-bedroom, 2 bath, 2 of them on there. Wouldn't that look beautiful?
Yeah.
Okay. That's scenario number 2. All right. Then since she got ahead of me, scenario number 3, when you look at this, oh my gosh, look at all that greenery. Look at all that
It's
grass.
huge, yeah.
Look at all that yard. So what you do is actually either knock the house down and build a duplex in the front, put a three car parking, and then just have a unit on the top. That's another one. Okay?
I can see it.
That's a little less expensive. That's a scenario. I'll say that's number 4. But then the really big one, well, I'll say would be 5. That would be having 2 duplexes. So anyway, everybody, a duplex means 2 units, and then another duplex means 2 units. So it'd really be a quad. It'd be a
Still
quad.
call those single family.
Yes, because it's under 5. You see that? That's why she's a guru. If it's under 5 units, then it's still considered residential and not commercial property. Okay? So you guys, while we're talking, I want you to think about what the possibilities are. So right now, maybe a roadblock thing in your mind, like, hey, I don't have this money, I don't have this. But just start thinking about this differently. You know, you always hear me say, use your mind. You know, so it's really about a mindset about what we're really thinking about. So let's look at all these scenarios. And I also want you to think about something. Again, I was going to tell you to write something down, but remember, nobody writes nothing down. So I want you to type down which scenario you'd like to do based on your budget. But then hold on. Then let's look at it if you did it together as a family, and we were doing these, and then look at how we would get financing and get in a position to do these. So I want to run through these one more time, Danette, and then walk through them, and then I want to go back, and then I'll go over them. You remember, one, it's just buy. If you have very limited income, you're just getting in the house, it's just getting in there and then just fixing it up room by room. We also have done videos before, we call it Real Estate Roundtable, where I go to Home Depot and show you how to buy stuff and how to do stuff, or Lowe's or whichever place where you go and you just do things on your own and you start walking through them. So that's number 1. Then the number 2 was the ADUs, was adding the units. But then when we get into the putting the duplex in the back, or you go supercalifragilistic,
Expialidocious.
there you go, and you do all of them. That would be so nice.
That would
I
be
know, I'm gonna
sweet.
go back
That'd
to
be
that
sweet.
again. Because you guys know, I'm sorry to go back to that scenario number 5, but let me finish the other ones first. If you put those in there, you can continue to build wealth that way and build generational. But like we said, if you put the 2 duplexes in there, you guys, and also, and I'll put the picture up one more time. Then you put the parking right in there where the grass is. And what you guys do is just put AstroTurf in between it. That way you guys can use that in limited thing. And then also, I'm gonna say this one more because it just kind of hit me. You know, Pastor George would put solar on top of these things.
Oh, we have
and I
solar.
wouldn't sell them. I would collect income because, you know, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Los Angeles would rent for over $3,500. I know some people in other states, I know this stuff sounds crazy, but 2-bedroom, 2 baths are around 26. So then you can do this, and then you can put solar on top of them, and then offer something called level 2 charging, where you'll tell people you'll let them charge their cars. And then what you do is you start selling power to them. You start charging and you do power, okay? So you guys, am I trying to give you a whole bunch of information and say, this is stuff that's unattainable? These are already things that can be done.
Especially if you don't sell grandma's house.
But I say that's right. Don't sell grandma's house. But Danette, someone might say to themselves, well, how do I get into a house like this? Or where do I get started? What do I do? Or how do I get into a house? What's some first things some people want to think about?
Wow, that's definitely a great question. But the first thing they want to start thinking about is the future. And they have to stop thinking rental mentality and owner mentality. We're going to start with the mindset. But the next thing we want to do is start saving money, getting out of debt, and preparation. And there's a lot that goes with that. We do have other real estate shows. We're going to specifically cover all of that. But the benefit of inheriting a home is that you already have it.
I'm sorry, stop.
I stopped. What
Say it
did you
again.
say? Okay.
'Cause that's the whole thing.
Rewind. Don't sell grandma's house. You already have
You
it.
guys, your family already has assets.
Yeah.
If you guys knew how many phone calls I get a week where we're gonna sell this person's sick, this person did this. And then also this property, there's actually one right next door for the same price, $499, the exact same size. I didn't even get into today because I don't want to wrestle around. I don't want to wrestle around, but I would have bought both of them and had one be parking and the other one be like 8, 10 units.
Well, I mean,
Right.
we're talking about the notion of buying, and that's
Right.
perfect because that's how you build wealth. The report indicates that we are very low on the totem pole relative to ownership. So grandma would be you. I mean, if you're the first homeowner in your generation of wealth building in your family, it's going to start with you. So we're trying to teach the youth,
Right.
the children of the parents that are buying a home, how to prepare your children for ownership.
That's a great point.
Right? Because if I'm going to pass it to you,
Look at that.
I
Because
need to
you
know
know
how to
that's
handle it.
that's a great point. We had our family reunion and we do that, and there's some people in our family. Excuse me. There's some people in our family that are doing real. I have a relative that's buying homes in Chicago all the time, and this is actually pretty cool. We actually sat down and we were in North Carolina. That's where it was last time, and then I started asking him questions like. And then just talking loud. I don't know. You guys, every now and then I talk loud. And what happened was we were sitting there and he's talking about buying them. And then when he started saying, like, yeah, well, I bought this home for $76,000. He started saying the price. And then people, you know what people are doing? Oh, there's a home for that amount. And then I said, hey, we're about to go over to the park. And by the way, I just pulled out my phone, looked up properties in North Carolina and said, let's drive by and I'll drive you guys by where you would do this in North Carolina. Because remember I said at the very beginning, there's two things. There's knowledge. Not even, I'm going to say knowledge, I'm going to say wisdom. Let's upgrade that. Wisdom, and then there's the money, the financial part. So we want to make sure that your family is working on all of them. Because actually something is that the family sit down and say, like you say, hey, how much do we have? I've done this to Deeply Rooted. Deeply Rooted is our young adult ministry. But get three family members together and buy a home. And then all three of you qualify. Somebody needs to have some credit. If your credit score is 150, that's not good. Somebody got to have some credit. People have to have something called income. And then also somebody has to be able to work and do things. So we got to find out where you fall in that and then constantly improve to get to the next level so you can do that. So if you buy a property and then you put the duplex on there, then you get some more finance, then you go down the street and you keep duplicating the process.
Right.
And everybody says, well, how do we do that? Well, then you guys go out and buy. There's this game, it's called Monopoly. You just go out and actually buy that and just actually watch how you win. Like, you know how you win Monopoly and why you have a hard time playing against someone like me is everywhere I land, I buy. And I don't actually buy homes, I buy hotels because I can collect. I want to collect as much as I can. And there's a finite number of homes and hotels. So after I buy them all, and also I don't lend people no money. So if you want some money from me, you got to sell something, okay? And I play against my kids and I show them that. And I played the Disney one, beat my daughter to death.
You're bragging about beating
and
that baby.
then, right. And then, before y'all call child support people, and Derek and them need to stop calling them people on me, what I'm doing is I'm teaching her how to do it, so now she's doing that. But the moral of what I'm saying is that we got to learn how to buy, own, and also do it as a family so we can learn how to play and how we do that
And
together.
pass down generational wealth. Back to the report.
Yes.
Let's get back to that report. So, generational wealth, we need to have serious, deep conversations continually. I don't want to stop here, right? Because we give people nuggets and then we don't go into, I know we're running out of time. I'm not sure how much time we have left, but when you inherit a home, if you're going to inherit your mother's home, your grandmother's home, or anybody else's home for that, your spouse, I don't know, you have to be ready, right? And we have to help people understand what readiness looks like, right? Insurance, if you own a home that you want to pass to your children, right? And you have a mortgage left on the property, you may want to consider, people don't want to get life insurance. Everybody's going to, what do you say? Everybody wants to live.
Yes.
That's a cute saying.
Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
There it is.
But no, but you're hitting a very good point
insurance.
in doing that. So you saw me just walk through plans with you real quick. You know, remember there's an income plan. So let's sit down as a family, call it kitchen table conversations. So you want to have an income plan. We want to have a debt plan. Then we have our investments plan. And then you brought up a good point. We have taxes, but I also want to use the word with estate plan, protection plan, how we're going to protect our assets. But so these are some things that we also want to talk about. But if you want some more information about it, please let us know. And that is life insurance, but also something called long-term care. Now we have to do a whole episode separately on long-term care because and I think these many of these properties that I'm seeing are falling in that category.
Yeah.
Somebody needed care. We don't know if this person just moved out of this house and now they're selling it to provide care for the person. And doing that. So you want to make sure that you have insurance. And just so you know what insurance is, and I'll make this as quickly as I can, is insurance is to protect assets. It's to indemnify against a loss. In other words, hopefully you have car insurance, not only because of someone hitting you, but you may hit, if you bump into a Bentley, you want to make sure you have insurance or someone becomes injured. That's why you have insurance. And I'll do a whole show on how we manage it. In other words, like you can avoid it. That means don't drive. Okay. So that's, I don't know how you would do that. And then also you want to manage it. That's what we want to talk to you about. Keep your hands at 10 and 2. And then there's also something you can do is you can transfer the liability. That means you buy insurance. So we want to manage it where you do all these types of things. So that comes in having a whole plan, which we call the total wealth management process, and Annette put her information there regarding that area. But today you want to make sure you understand those and start having conversation with your family.
Yeah.
Anything else before I wrap up?
No, I mean, that's important because the key to that is to be able to cover that outstanding mortgage that people have, especially if they refi 3, 4, 5 times. Whatever that balance is, you want to have insurance to cover that gap so that the person inheriting is not inheriting a debt that they cannot afford.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. And then unfortunately, I'm going to repeat back what you just said. So I want people to understand is that some people can't afford the gift. Like you say, I'm going to leave my house to them.
Yeah.
So like if you leave them the house and you don't do 2 things, remember, if they don't have the financial literacy in order to do it, like in other words, if you leave them this, let's say you do the supercalifragilistic,
expialidocious,
and you do the 2 duplexes, right? And you're doing it. And I'm going over rent, and you're collecting $12,000 a month in income, and the person doesn't know how to pay that, how to do this, how to upkeep, how to keep everything going, and then they lose it all. Then all that was in vain. That's why you want to make sure there's the knowledge part that you're also teaching, and then also you protect it. So then that way somebody has, if they have a life insurance, then that would transfer them free and clear. Life insurance is not taxable.
Yeah.
In that area. So, wow, that's really good. You have a lot of nuggets. You guys, we're going to have more episodes like this covering this area. Also in the chat, kind of type in certain areas that you say, hey, I'd like to have some more information on that. So we have some coming that are also in the area of business, also ones in tax, but also in the area of real estate and finance. Our goal is to help you get to the next level. Whatever level you're at, remember they're struggling and sinking, inability to pay bills, steady, solid, surplus service. We want to show you how to have all that God has for you in life. And I look forward to seeing you on our next episode. God bless you. And remember, in Set for Life, we live our life by design, not by default.